Well, it is a gloomy day here, folks, because the Packers lost to the Minnesota Vikings. Vikings, well, we don't like them. We really don't like them. But let's head to some intro.
This is Tom Grossi, and you're watching the PackReacts podcast.
Let's go.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to PackReacts. I'm your host, Jeremy Hadler, along with our other co-host, Mike Arvonio. And today, folks, this is PackReacts, as we've always been on here. And we discuss the Packers coming up short once again here against good teams because the Packers cannot beat good teams, and they got swept out by the Minnesota Vikings this season. First time since 2017, ladies and gentlemen. Also been swept by the Detroit Lions, and we lost to the Philadelphia Eagles. That was the hierarchy of the teams that you had to beat. And when the test came, the Packers cannot beat the good teams, but they can beat the bad teams, though, Mike.
Right, Jeremy. Definitely disappointing loss on Sunday. One of those things that we've been talking about in the past. The Packers have had trouble with the good teams in the NFC, the teams that are better than them in theory. The Packers have 5 losses in the season. 4 of those are division losses. 2 against the Lions, 2 against the Vikings, 1 against the Eagles. Games that you can't lose if you're going to expect to go anywhere in the playoffs. You're going to have to beat one of the Lions or the Vikings. Of course, it's looking like you're going to have to beat the Eagles round 1 unless Packers beat the Bears, which is probably likely, and the Commanders
Cowboys
lose to the Cowboys, right? So definitely not an ideal situation.
Nope.
Granted, the Commanders won anyway, so Packers would have won. I guess if they would have won this week against the Bears, they would have guaranteed the 6th seed.
Yep.
Yeah. It's definitely troublesome that the Packers can't beat the 2 best teams in the division. We're clearly not one of the better teams in the division. We're number 3 right now.
Yeah.
And the Vikings are better than we thought they were coming to the season. We definitely did not give them their credit. They're well coached on both the offensive and defense side of the ball. Sam Darnold's been playing well. I don't know. I think the Packers seems good. I think they have a chance to make a run for it in the playoffs, but it's definitely troublesome, very, very troublesome the way they lost both games to the Lions and the Vikings.
Yeah, definitely. It's very troubling to see because those are the tests that you're given to see if you can be across the league and you can now they can put up a good fight, Mike, but they can't finish the battle. And that's been the way. Like Minnesota, you had huge deficit in both games in Lambeau, in Minnesota. Can't come back from that. Detroit, you put up a good fight. And the first game, they shot themselves in the foot because of that pick 6 that happened the first game. And then last game against the Lions, it was just a shootout there. And you couldn't do anything against the banged-up Lions there, and they still beat you. Then Philly was week 1. Well, it was week 1, but still they couldn't capitalize on the turnovers and score TDs on that for field goals.
Yeah, this game is definitely a regression back to earlier in the season. Jordan Love looked very pedestrian. I think he had like a 68 passer rating before they did come back towards the end. It was very similar to the first Vikings game week 4 or 5 when they went down big, kind of came back, had a chance towards the end. Theory that BS offside call.
Yeah,
you could say lost them the game because they gave him 3 points, but I think a lot more would have went wrong other than that. But that was a terrible call that gave the Vikings 3 points.
totally agree.
But the Packers are completely pedestrian and completely flat the entire game. So I can't put this one on the refs. I think they were outmatched, outplayed. And, not good.
No, it wasn't good. I mean, had that first drive, and then Jacobs fumbles the ball, which was a good drive they had, is stop at the feet of the Vikings and get the game started going early. Didn't happen there. The receiving game, it was annoying to watch because there's so many drops from these receivers, especially Jane Reed on the 4th and 2 one where they could have took the field goal early and could have won the game from doing that. But that was one issue there. If the receiver drops, like that's got to stop with Reed, Dobbs, all like the weapons that we got here. They got to stop when that wide receiver drops is the big thing. I saw that. Offensive line for the Packers got destroyed. They couldn't really hold up, and Jordan Love was under pressure almost every single time. Defensively, we gave Sam Darnold all day, like the first game. He could sit back there, have a hot Sunday, and just throw it at the end of the battle. Like, couldn't do anything. No pressure on either side. So you could have done for our offensive line or our defensive line. Couldn't do anything there.
I like that one. A hot Sunday in the pocket.
Yeah, it was a hot Sunday there.
Something I texted you guys earlier this week. You're definitely a Jaden Reed truther on this side. Some people might call me negative, but if there's one guy I'm very positive and very bullish on, it's Jaden Reed.
Mm-hmm.
He's been pretty pedestrian / non-existent the past few weeks. I know he had a decent game against the Saints last week, but a lot of that was in garbage time. I think Malik Willis hit him for a big play when I was sleeping.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, he's been very pedestrian, not where he needed to be, and you know, a lot of that maybe he just wasn't being targeted, whatnot. But this game, he dropped a easy first down over the middle that would have had more. That was pretty troublesome because if there's one thing about Jaden Reed is his hands are really good, and the drops like that, there's something up with Jaden. So we really need him to come back.
Yeah.
And we definitely saw the difference of not having Christian Watson on the field.
Yeah.
It takes some of the over-the-top threat away. And obviously, not only is he a speedy guy, Christian Watson, but he's also a bigger receiver. So that allowed them to play safeties down a little bit more or safeties back a little bit more and kind of keep everything in front of them. And I think the Packers had a lot of trouble. They also did not have a lot of time in the pocket, like you said. It was kind of the opposite that the Vikings had. The Vikings, had some really good plays by Justin Jefferson that were pretty outstanding. And then they had that down to like the third or fourth, string wide receiver. Wide open in the end zone.
Jalen Naylor,
right, which was not good. He was wide open. But, I mean, look, could the Packers have won that game? Sure. Should they have won that game? No. They looked unmatched, and it's just not good for them to kind of look very similar in the both Vikings games. Lions game definitely played better in the second game than they played the first, but they still were never really even close in the second game. But the Viking game was very similar to the first one, and that's concerning to me because we're going to have to beat two. If the Packers are going to make the Super Bowl, mark my words right now, we have to beat 2 of the 3 in the Vikings, Lions, and Eagles.
I agree.
At least 2 of the 3. Maybe 3.
At least 3. Yeah.
Maybe 3 to 3. But at least 2 of the 3 you're going to have to beat. So the fact that they haven't beat any of them, and 2 of them they lost it twice. And the only reason they didn't lose to the Eagles twice is, I mean, look at this. Look at this. Think about this, Jeremy, right?
Okay.
In theory, this is very possible. And I don't want to put this out in the ether and say it anyway, but I just thought about it. The Packers could have 6 losses in one season to 3 teams. I don't know if that's ever happened before in history. I would love to see if a team has had 6 losses in one season to 3 teams. In theory, right? If the Packers get the 7th seed and they lose to the Eagles, they'd have 6 losses to 3 teams.
I feel like it's happened before. The one I can think of maybe, Mike, is the Pittsburgh Steelers off the top of my head because they lost to Cleveland in the playoffs. And they also lost to Cleveland that last regular season game. But I'm pretty sure they won that first game out of the 3 in the regular season. So that's the one that sticks out to me is them losing.
Has any NFL team ever lost 6 games in a season? All 2, 3 teams. No. Never happened. This is the team.
Well, we're about to be the first team of this rate.
I mean, I don't know. It's what the AI is saying.
Oh,
But that's kind of
So-
crazy, right?
that is crazy. That is crazy, but yeah, just brutal there for the Packers. The only bright spot I did like was for defensively, I will say, is Keyshawn Nixon pushing Jordan Addison out of bounds when he caught the ball and he didn't get it in the end zone. He couldn't land his feet in, so that was one bright spot, and the ball did come out of the end, so it was an incomplete pass too. So that was the one bright spot I could say about that defense of what they did fine with, or what was one good play out of that. Yeah, it was just brutal. It felt like a playoff game, Mike. It was just like didn't go our way. We were down 13-3, even though it should have been 10-3. And it kind of reminded me of this, like the 49ers game a couple years ago, and when we were supposed to go the next week to the Lambeau Field for the championship game. It just kept reminding me of that, of like first drive, you get the fumble, like Josh Jacobs, Aaron Jones had the fumble. Then you see like the pattern just like going back in your head of like
That wasn't
to
Aaron
see-
Jones. That was Mercedes Lewis that fumbled.
or Mercedes Lewis too. I thought Aaron Jones did fumble, or it was in the Bucs championship game. Sorry, like it just kept reminiscing me, Mike, of like you had it right there, and you just kept doing every single little thing you're not supposed to do. Like you can only do a little error margin in this game, and that's gonna cost you the entire game. Like it's a chess game. Make one or two mistakes, and that could literally cost you the game. Like that's how it is.
Right, I agree.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it
brutal.
wasn't good. Yeah, trying to think of some positives from the game.
I mean,
Really,
positive. I mean, the Keyshawn Nixon play, that was a positive I saw when he pushed Jordan Addison out of the way. Love did okay under pressure, I will say, of like his numbers weren't totally bad when he was getting blitzed. So that was the nice thing, though, I will say.
You know who's also like I forget is even playing?
Who?
Kenny Clark.
Yeah.
Useless.
Yeah. But he made the Pro Bowl, though, Mike, somehow.
Really? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I came out. I was going to say.
Yeah, because the Pro Bowls, Mike, if to make it interesting to you, you got Rashawn Gary made the Pro Bowl, Xavier McKinney made the Pro Bowl, Josh Jacobs made the Pro Bowl, first alternate Elton Jenkins, other alternates Jordan Love, Kenny Clark, Keyshawn Nixon, Tucker Kraft, Josh Myers, Jair Alexander.
Well, definitely Josh Jacobs, Xavier McKinney were the. I'm actually surprised by Rashawn Gary, but
I was surprised too.
interesting.
But it makes up for him because this is his first Pro Bowl ever, Mike, and that he should have gotten last year.
Tucker Kraft getting an alternate, that's nice. But I don't know if I can give it to Jair Alexander to even play.
I think it's at this point, Mike, for Pro Bowls, I always consider it a popularity contest. The only thing Pro Bowls ever tell me is how consistently good are you? That's the only thing I get out of Pro Bowls is how consistently good, because the games are useless. It's pointless. It's like almost every All-Star game in sports it's just bad. The only one I would like is baseball, just because of the home run derby. And the All-Star game used to mean something years ago because it would determine who gets to host the World Series, or what side you get to do it. Like, that's the only thing. That's the only thing, though. Like, I don't like the Pro Bowl at all. Like, it used to be fun, like watching the dodgeball and everything, but it's just boring. It's just not useful anymore to me.
I agree. Sorry, are you echoing for? Am I echoing for you? You're echoing.
Yeah, you're a little echoing.
Okay.
But yeah, just useless.
Yeah. No, the Packers need to pick it up. They cannot have a game like that. From here on out, I mean, look, this game is not necessarily a must-win. If you're going to get the 6th seed, then you must win and the Commanders must lose. But, I mean, we don't know. I mean, we have to play the same time as the Commanders. So we will see what happens as we go. But, honestly, if the Commanders win, then this game means nothing. So, definitely go out to win. You have to win. To play to win, of course. But it might be that this game means nothing in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I think the purpose of which we'll get into this game, but I think the purpose of me, Mike, if we're not going to get the if we're not going to get the 6th seed, the only thing I would want out of this week from the Packers is to get their mindset right and just forget about that Vikings game and get back, because this team has gotten hot offensively, I will say. If they can get their mindset just right back into it, then they can be fine. Like, you look at last year, we lost to the Bucs. I went to that game. We lost to the Giants against Tommy DeVito. You went to that game. Then you see them go on a little bit of a run. This is what I want, Mike, is this them to get in the right mindset and blow out the Bears to we're right back in it. Even if it's a terrible team, get that kind of boost in your self-confidence there is what I would like.
Right. Correct. That makes sense.
That's what I would want. So, yeah, we'll get into that too, folks. Another topic I like to give a shout out to because it came out about a couple hours ago. Tucker Kraft finally getting his Kraft mac and cheese sponsor, which I don't have my Kraft mac and cheese socks on me currently, but he finally got his Kraft mac and cheese. I've been wanting him to get it for years.
Yak and cheese is apparently what it's called.
Yes, yak and cheese. That's a great name you want to have for mac and cheese, kids.
There you go.
So, yeah, finally got it, folks. He finally got his sponsor there, folks, that we've been waiting for. But, yeah, Mike, it's going to be very interesting to see how the Packers approach this game because there were talks that they might limit some players like Josh Jacobs. He was talking in the locker room. He doesn't think he's going to play a whole lot of snaps, 30 snaps. He kept saying that in the locker room. So it'll be interesting to see how long. I think you'll see most of the main stars go, but you won't see some of them play the full game, I feel like. At that point, I feel like they're going to kick some of the guys out, though.
I don't agree with that. You're not going to play to win. You're going to take people out early when there's an opportunity that we could get the 6th seed compared to the 7th seed. This game is meaningful.
Yeah.
You can't play assuming that the Commanders are going to win. So, yeah. I don't know. I think it's a bad idea. I think that really sends a bad message.
I agree. It was Josh Jacobs saying in the locker room where he just thinks he's not going to get 30 carries at all. He just thinks he's going to get normal of maybe 15, 20, but he doesn't think he's going to get a heavy load of the 30. That was just interesting to me to see. But LaFleur said in the press conference he's going all out, and they're putting all the guys in there the whole time. So
yeah,
it'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see how they go.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to overload Josh Jacobs compared to where he has been historically in the past few weeks. I think they're probably going to be status quo in terms of the load they give him. But I don't think they're going to take him out early if this game is, close. They're not going to not take him out.
Yeah, and it's also wondering too, Mike, because in the Cowboys-Commanders game, the Cowboys haven't decided who their quarterback will be this week.
Cowboys?
So, yeah, they haven't decided if it be Cooper Rush or Trey Lance. Which if I had my money on, I would put it on Cooper Rush to start for the Cowboys to beat the Commanders.
Let's hope they win. It could be Big Mike's last game in Dallas.
Yeah, Mike McCarthy, do us one good favor for the Packers. You won with us. And you did lose to us with the Cowboys. So do us another favor and get a win for us. Just benefit it all for the Packers.
I agree.
That's what we need here, folks. We just need some help out here because that's the best shot. But the interesting thing, too, Mike, to go into this NFC playoff picture is the Rams are going to sit Matthew Stafford this week.
Do they have the division locked up?
No. They got the division locked up, that's for sure. But they could fall to the 4th seed, and they have to play the loser of the Minnesota Vikings-Lions game for the first round of the playoffs. So that is something interesting is that because the Bucs, in theory, could win because I believe they play the Saints this week, so that's going to most likely be a win for the Bucs. The Rams, they play the Cardinals, I believe, but still, pick your poison of who you would want.
Hurts? Is there a reason why they're sitting?
They want him to get rest, is all they kept saying. They didn't go specify injury concern, but they just want him to get rest for the playoffs, is what I kept hearing. They're going to start Jimmy Garoppolo.
Just
I don't know if I agree with that, but yeah.
I don't know what his health situation's like. Obviously, if there's something, he's getting up in age. I mean, if there's some concern there, maybe it makes sense. But
yeah, he's getting up there in age. He's in his late 30s, so like that could be a factor with it. But yeah, it'll be interesting though, Mike, because you got the number one seed is going to come down to an SC North, and it's going to be the Vikings and Lions. And we've discussed the past couple weeks of who we would want to have the number one seed. But at this rate, Mike, since we're going to, if we get the 7th seed and we beat Philly, who would you want to have, the Lions or the Vikings? Because you have to go to place.
Right. No matter what, we're going to the top seed if we're in the 7th seed. Probably the Lions. I think with their injuries, they're going to be an easier team to beat. Going to Detroit, I think, is a little bit less worse than going to Minnesota. But I mean, honestly, Packers haven't been able to beat either team this year. So
yeah,
depending if we could buy the Eagles, right? So really would like to get the win and have the Commanders lose and go through the 6th seed. I think that's probably the path of least resistance at this point. But I think it's probably unlikely too. So Packers probably gonna have to go to Philly and win, and probably go to Detroit or Minnesota and win.
Yep.
And probably go to the remainder of the Detroit or Minnesota to win in the championship. I mean, that's probably the path.
It's gonna be Philly, Minnesota, or Detroit, and then Detroit or Minnesota just to finish off. So you got to start all over. You got to beat the teams that you lost to, pretty much.
That's it. It's probably going to be, in order for the Packers to make the Super Bowl, it's going to be a redemption.
Yeah.
What do you call it?
Because
gauntlet.
Yeah, because it's rare for a team that's played once, beat them again in the playoffs. It's rare for a team to beat twice by your division to lose the 3rd time in the playoffs. That is rare. So it will be interesting to see if the Packers can get it going here before can get this offense waking up, the receivers stop with the drops, and play complimentary football is what I like to see, because this is what this team has shown, and that's the big thing about it. Is just you need to play complimentary football, and you have that right mindset heading to the playoffs, because all that matters is you get in the dance, Mike, and then it takes one match to start that fire. It takes one match, and the Packers, they got to start that fire against the Bears to start that fire going.
You were echoing for me there, but I definitely think you're right. Look, it's week by week, right? It's 1-0 each week. You got to win this game. Whether or not the Commanders win is what matters. If you go 1-0, but all we can do is take care of our own business. So if the Commanders win and we get the 7th seed, then we have to go to Philly and win that game, and then go into Minnesota or Lions, and then Lions or Minnesota, whoever wins that game most likely. In the championship, you have to go and beat the teams that are out in front of you. At this point, it's not going to be an easy path either way, right? Like if you're the 6th seed, you got to play either the Buccaneers or the Rams, which I'd probably prefer to play one of those, but it's still not going to be an easy way. And then if you win that game, you're more than likely still going to have to play the 1st seed, because it's saying the Eagles beat the Commanders, which, I mean, look, it's a divisional game. They could definitely Commanders win, and then you're playing the highest remaining seed after that, so probably the Vikings, right, or the Lions, because assuming that they would beat the lowest seeded divisional.
Yep.
I don't know. Let's see what happens. It is what it is. At this point, it's not going to be an easy route no matter what. We didn't get the job done against the teams we needed to beat. And that's why we're in this position where we're not going to get a tiebreaker. We're not going to, compete against the other teams when it comes to seeding. We're good enough to make the playoffs, but the seeding-wise, we just weren't good enough.
Apparently, when a team goes, you got 11 wins, and you're maybe get a 12th win there, and you get 12-5, and you end with the last seed I don't understand how. Just how it falls for the playoffs for the Packers. Just how it be. But it is interesting, though, Mike. I will say for the Packers, if they do face the Eagles, is Jalen Hurts is still in the concussion protocol. So that is something to keep an eye on if we play Philly, because he could be a little bit rusty in this game, in his first wild card game against Packers if it happens.
Yep.
So
I mean, it's a good player. You're saying that
he could be rusty. Yeah, which he was a bit rusty when we played him last time.
Yep. They also go to Brazil.
Yeah. So, just saying, like, not.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? The Packers could bookend.
I'm gonna say it's gonna be my confidence. I could definitely see for confidence wise, I could definitely see the Packers make a little run here, but not make it to the Super Bowl, not win the NFC conference. I can see him make it to the conference at a high upside at that point. But that's like the most like high confidence I would give him a shot at. They could beat the Eagles because you never know. You just never know. Like we all thought, and this was me and Mike, we all thought last year we weren't going to beat the Cowboys in the first round. Look what happened. We beat the heck out of the Cowboys. Almost beat the Niners last year. Should have beat them, according to both of us. Would have faced the Lions. Could have maybe put up a good fight against that and could have gone to the Super Bowl last year. Now you have a better team. You got a better Packers team from last year, I will say that. But the big things with this team is the red zone defense is bad. You got to play complementary football. That is a big thing. Injuries are a concern with this team, but you got to play complementary football. The red zone defense is bad. But I will say, Mike, we do have better special teams this year. I could say that confidently. We have a better kicker than what we had last year with Anders Carlson. So that is one positive note, but like the red zone defense has definitely killed us the past couple weeks. So half these guys stepping up a little bit better for us, and got to see how the coverage goes with our CBs because the passing game has not gone great, but our run defense has been fine though the past couple weeks, I will say.
Yeah, the run defense is going to be necessary for the Eagles. Look, I think we got to stay positive. Everything's in front of us right now. That's all we can do is just stay positive and just go 1-0 each week. It sounds cliche, but that's the situation we're in. And look, we're not the best team in the conference, but the best team in the conference doesn't always win. It doesn't always make a run for it. Last year, we almost made a run for it. We were not the best team in the conference, so there's no reason why I can't do it this week. I think we're having some technical difficulties, by the way.
Oh, great. That is great, Mike. We always have that on the show here every single week, I feel like. That's right.
All right, let's cut this one a little bit short then. So I guess looking forward to this week, we got the Bears, like we said. It may mean something. It may mean nothing, depending on what happens in Washington, Dallas. But again, the games go simultaneously. There's no reason to look at the clock and see what's going on or looking at the scoreboard and the other game. So you just have to go and win our game. And if we're lucky enough that the Commanders lose, then great. We're in the 6th seed and we're playing one of the Bucks and Rams. But obviously none of that matters if we don't win our game. So you need to win our game and see what happens there. That's got to be the mindset to this game. This is an important game. It very well could be a playoff game because again, it's going to be tough to beat the Eagles, but the Rams and the Buccaneers are both beatable. I think we're probably better teams than them. Not great to have to go to their house, but it is what it is. At this point, this season's going to go through the road, whether you're not you're the 7th seed or the 6th seed. Even if we're the 6th seed, the only game that could be at home would be NFC Championship game against the Commanders at home, which I would think is very unlikely. So this week is going to be the last game at Lambeau for the year. Close up the stadium after that. Yep. And the question is, or do you see us in New Orleans later this year with Jeremy? Jeremy's going to be in New Orleans. Just be careful going to Bourbon Street, apparently.
Yeah, I saw that. Terrible. I mean, hopefully the Packers can do something about it. Just to get your quick thoughts on it, though, Mike, of Jair Alexander, do you think he played his last down in a Green Bay Packer uniform?
I don't know what his contract looks like, to be honest with you, but Yeah, I'm a little bit confused with the situation. I don't know. It's very weird. I don't really have much more to say other than it's very weird. I didn't even know he had a knee injury. Honestly, I didn't even know what his injury was. But that's probably more on me. But I don't know why they waited so long to get surgery if that's what he needed, and it seemed kind of weird.
It's kept sounding like the David Bakhtiari situation all over again, Mike, because he was trying to get back out there, and like Jair was practicing. He was a full participant, like for a week he was, and he couldn't go, which was just kind of foolish to me. So like that's one of the interesting things is like the injury all happened in Jacksonville in that last play when the Trevor Lawrence threw that touchdown. I think it was to Evan Engram, and Jair popped up on his knee, and he wasn't the same since then, and he's been out. At that point, you kept the bait. I think you would have taken the surgery if you knew better of like try to get back for maybe the playoffs to do a longevity run. Like that could have definitely helped that would have helped the Packers a lot more. But his current contract, though, he is under contract for next year, but he has a $17 million dead cap if you cut him right now, and you only save $7 million. So if that $7 million is really worth it to you, you can cut him. But otherwise, you can keep him here next year just to not really waste a whole lot of dead cap of $17 million.
Makes sense. Yeah, I mean, definitely disappointing to lose him for the season. I don't know how. I thought he'd be back in the playoffs at the very least, and it doesn't sound like that's happening, so that's not good.
No.
So it sounds like Packers have to go through in the secondary the way they're at right now. Keyshawn Nixon, Eric Stokes. Eric Stokes has stayed healthy this year. I don't think he's been that great, but
no. Valentine.
Carrington Valentine has definitely played above his draft status. That's for sure. But obviously the Packers' big weakness is in the secondary, in the quarterback position.
I agree.
So I think that's going to be a tough thing because you're going to have to go through, the Vikings with their receiver core, Lions with Amon-Ra St. Brown, the Eagles with Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown, right?
Yep.
So it's going to be tough.
It's going to be like 2016 and run the table, Mike, because we had a banged up secondary. And they somehow made it all the way to the NFC Championship game because of that. They faced the Giants. Remember that. They faced the Cowboys against Des Bryant. You had with the Giants Odell Beckham Jr., and then you get destroyed by Julio Jones in the championship game. So it's going to be similar to how that secondary was, I feel like, of 2016 run there.
That's right. Yeah, that NFC Championship game was a debacle.
Yeah.
At least.
But yeah. Hopefully the Packers can get it done here. One quick thing I'd like to bring up, though, Mike, is the Packers are rumored to play the Steelers in Ireland next year.
I heard that, and I probably will be going to that game. I didn't go to the London game, so I'll probably go to this game because I've never been to Ireland. It'd be interesting to go. That's my plan. If we are playing in Ireland, depending on obviously when the game is, I will look to go.
It's most likely against the Steelers, is what Aaron Agler was reporting.
Well, I think the Steelers are definitely playing. So if we're playing, it's definitely against the Steelers.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a home game.
Yeah, because we play the AFC North next year. So that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah.
But
Mike, where you prediction for this game?
What's that? Prediction? Yeah, I will go Packers 23-10.
Well, Packers 17, Bears 10. I like the 10 for the Bears, actually.
All right. I want to see a blowout is all I care. I want to see a dominant performance by all three phases of the football, special teams, defense, and offense. You can get that confidence boost in you. Then it makes me feel better about this Packers team to head into the playoffs a little bit better. But got to keep positive, as Mike said. You got to keep positive. You just ignore the negative as long as you can until it comes up your face. And you just got to yell serenity now, according to Seinfeld. So just got to hold in, think positive thoughts, kids.
Right. Mindset's important, Jeremy. Got to stay in. It's a new year, new Packers. New year, new Jeremy. New year, new Mike. New year, new Packers. So look.
New PackReacts as well.
New PackReacts. Is it? Is it new PackReacts? Different mindset we're bringing to the show.
Yeah.
Look, definitely want to put 2024 in the past, at least in my life. Definitely want to put 2024 in the past and move on to 2025.
There we go.
I like the number 5. So it's hopefully a good year for all, Jeremy. You graduate this year, right?
Yes, graduate in May.
There we go. So see, that's a positive thing.
Yeah.
You still got your internship?
Yep, starting that with my work experience on Monday. So I'll be starting that up, and then we'll be doing going down to Atlanta for a sales competition for school at the end of January and go to the Super Bowl.
Here we go. What a way to end your college career, going to the Super Bowl.
Exactly. Just get paid the big buck. Yeah, get paid the big bucks from the players, hopefully.
You have a chance to get a offer from one of your internships?
I have to wait and see and hear from that at the end. So.
Okay. Cool. Well, good luck.
Yeah,
big change coming in 2025. I can feel it. Positive change for both of us, for the Packers, for the fans, for everyone. If you're listening, you want to come on the show, let us know. But yeah, positivity in 2025, Jeremy. Only positivity on the show anymore. No negativity. More coming from me. Positive in 2025, and good things to come.
Hey, if it makes you feel better, Mike, you get to go to the Packers draft too.
I do get to go to the Packers draft, which honestly, it was a good thing I got that hotel when I did, because the prices are crazy. I got it, so I have a credit card, right, where I could get if you buy 4 nights in a row of points, you pay for the whole trip in points. The 4th night is free, so it lowers the points for all the other ones. So usually a night in a hotel room is about 22,000 points or 21, right? But in Green Bay for that week when I got it, it was 33,000. But the game went down to 22 because I got 4 nights stay, but I'm only paying 3 nights, right? So an average over 4, it's 22,000, which is what it should be. I just looked yesterday to see how much it would be if I wanted to book it. It's 70,000 points a night.
Jeez.
So and then if you want to pay dollars on it, it's $600 a night, even in Appleton. So it's crazy because I'm not staying in Green Bay. I'm staying in Appleton.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money. I mean, I was thinking, do I really need to go and waste 90,000 points on this? And I was thinking about maybe backing out, but I think I'm gonna go.
Mike, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. When you ever gonna see the Packers host the draft again?
Yeah, no, I gotta go. I'm going. I mean, I thought about backing out for a second because I was that's a lot of points I'm using. Then I realized, wait, I'm really there 4 nights. It's not that bad. It's really what it should be. So, it's definitely worth it. If anyone wants to buy my hotel room off of me, let me know. I'll sell for $400.
There you go, folks. There you go. You hear it from Twitter and YouTube. Mike is selling his spot for the NFL draft. You want to go in 2025, ladies and gentlemen.
You can use the hotel room. I'll go out there and I'll just what do you call it? I'll check you in and I'll go drive somewhere else.
Go stay at Corey Benke's house.
Yeah, no, that's true. It's true. Well, maybe one day when I get a house in Green Bay, then we don't have to worry about any of this.
Exactly.
But we gotta have parties there.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Not today. That's not gonna happen today.
Yeah, but think positive is our new mindset and our new model here for PackReacts this year, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you had a great holidays of Kwanzaa, Christmas, New Year's. My New Year's was just watching football.
Hanukkah,
and Hanukkah too.
Netflix Christmas special,
Oh yeah, that's
what you celebrate, the Netflix Christmas special.
Yeah.
That's a gunshot. That was interesting. It should be fun. Happy holidays to all the listeners. Happy New Year.
Yep.
Best wishes for 2025. It's going to be an interesting month, Jeremy. It started yesterday. A lot of things happen in the world. I have a feeling more things are going to happen in the world before a few weeks from now when something massive is going to change, right?
Yep.
We'll have a new president, so it'll be interesting if that happens or not. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting kind of these next few weeks. But the good thing is we get to see what the Packers do. We got a game on the 4th and then a game on the 11th, right? Or 10th or the 11th. And then we'll see if we're alive to the end of the month. We'll see.
Or it could be that Monday Night Football playoff game too, Mike. It could be, but my guess would probably be a Sunday or a late Saturday game.
That's all right. That's all right.
That's my guess for of where we would play in the playoff game at least.
Right. All right. Sounds good. So that's another good episode. We got both have the Packers winning this week. Oh, I guess let's give our one more prediction because the game we care about is not just the Packers and Bears, it's Commanders and
Cowboys. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would give the Commanders this one. I know I usually pick on the Packers side, but I think the Commanders probably win.
The Commanders are -6, so I'll give the Commanders by 3, just to spice it up a little bit. But the nice thing, though, Mike, of like how cheap these tickets are is incredible. Like you go to the Dallas game, the cheapest ticket I am seeing is $14, and I'm assuming that's the one where you run in, you're just a stand-only fan. I assume that's the ticket, but it's $14 to go to that one, $5 to go to the Texans-Titans game. Let's see, $10 to go to the Colts-Jaguars game.
What about Jets? The Jets.
Jets is $23.
That's expensive.
$23.
Yeah, that would be less than.
Well, hey, the Dolphins could make a playoff berth if you really want to see the Dolphins try and make the playoffs without Tua being there as well, because he might not play this week too. And then you could go if you really.
Watch Aaron Rodgers in his final game as a Jet. Exactly. I watched him in his first game as a Jet and his final game as a Jet.
Hey, you could see him have his career 500 passing TD touchdown. This could be the last time you see Aaron Rodgers play in the NFL.
Should I go?
You might as well if you really want to see Rodgers play his last
football. The Packers game.
Well, they'll have it on the scoreboard too if you really want to. But you can go to the Jets game if you really want to.
How much is it?
$23. Yeah, 23. On Vivid. Wow, it's all it's in the they're in the all in the upper deck if you really care for that, Mike. They're all in the upper deck, like 24, 26, 27, 28 bucks.
$52. Row 26, section 104.
There you go.
106 is 55. This is 35. I'm sure the day of it's gonna be even cheaper. So yeah, I mean, hey, maybe. I don't really want to go out there though. That's kind of far.
Well, you could do that.
I'll consider. It's gonna be cold too, right?
Probably. You could. It's where did I have it? It's gonna be 35 degrees out there, Mike.
Really?
Yeah, 35 degrees according to AccuWeather. I mean, you could just do that, or you go to the Vikings-Lions game, which the cheapest ticket for that game is about $350.
Yep. Nope. I'm not going to. Where is it? Detroit or?
It would be Detroit. It would be Detroit.
No, I'm okay. I will pass on that.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting.
Right. Well, hopefully everyone has a good weekend. Everyone has a good games on Sunday. Who won today's the Sugar Bowl?
Notre Dame won.
Really?
Yeah. It was very interesting of the Notre Dame situation with there was a couple calls that should have been PI in that game that didn't go Georgia's way. Georgia dropped a wide open touchdown. They had it was like 2 plays later they scored a touchdown on that drive, but the guy had his hands wide open. The ball's going right through his hands, and he could not catch the ball for some reason. Then Notre Dame decided to go for it on their own 19-yard line, Mike, on a 4th and 1 play, and they got it on a fake. They were about to punt it, and then they switched it very quick, and they put the offense on the field. As soon as they hiked the ball, they get a neutral zone infraction. They march down the field, and they get to the 50-yard line, and that was pretty much game there because they kept going back and forth, and Georgia kept going for it so many times on 4th down, and that cost them it. They were down huge deficit. I think they were down by 20 by halftime. Notre Dame had a kickoff return touchdown as well, though. It was a very good game, though. But
yeah, I did see that.
But the ASU game in Texas was the best game I would probably say out of all of them so far.
Right. Which I was actually I was watching that game, and I was gonna put. I found a bet that in the first quarter where they. What do you think? Do you think they're gonna get the overtime? And I was like, "That's no shot." I think it was up like 40,000. I don't even know what it was, but I should have put $2 in it. I would have made a lot of money. But oh well.
That game was like the longest game I think I've seen of a college football game. But I mean, it'll be interesting though, Mike, for college football wise, because the number 1 seed is out, Oregon, because they got destroyed by Ohio State. So now you got like the lower seeds facing each other. You got Notre Dame facing Penn State, then you got Ohio State facing Texas. So Penn State could easily have the easiest way to win the whole thing, in my opinion. But until they face Ohio State, they can't beat them because Ohio State destroys them every year.
All right. Well, good episode. Let's hope the Packers win this week. I'll let the fans know if I end up going to the Jets game, which is very likely. I'd say it's probably a 2% chance of me going, but I'll think about it. Hopefully the Packers get the win. Hopefully the Commanders lose, get the 6th seed, and go from there.
Yeah. Who would you prefer to face, Mike? The Rams or the Bucks?
I was thinking about that too. Actually, good question. I'd probably say the Rams. I think the Bucks are probably a better team.
Okay. I'd probably go with the Rams because LaFleur has not lost to Sean McVay when he's been with the Packers. So, yeah.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks, everyone, for joining.
Appreciate it. And one thing we always like to say here, folks, is go Pack Go here on the chat.
Ready?
Ready? Yep.
Go Pack Go.
Pack Go.
Let's go. 6 seed, baby.